Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. As you can see, today we're working on the compressor. Actually, I'm recording two videos of the one because I think I've repeated it so many times now. But the spring on this side broke on the rear, but unfortunately the parts that I ordered, they're no longer in stock, so I'm gonna have to wait, I think, until, well, today is Wednesday, so probably until Friday, Saturday to actually get them so I can complete this task. And since I'm trying the new camera, the new mic and all that kind of thing, I'm a bit on a roll at the minute. So I'm going to show you something that could help you from wasting quite a bit of money on brakes. So let's just jump into it and I'll show you what we're doing today. If you've got the same issue that I have, my wheel is not coming off because it's basically fused at the minute with the disc. And that happens, you know, when you got shitty conditions like winter and all that kind of, no winter, but you know what I mean. When it gets cold, when there's like salt on the road and all that kind of thing. So a quick trick is going to be, try this. Just kick it a couple of times, and it should loosen. As you can see on the disc, we got this white thing all around the disc, and as well we got white around here. So what we're going to do is use that wire brush there. We're going to clean all of this, so next time when we try to get our wheel off, it won't be a problem. But that isn't exactly what I wanted to show you today. As you can see on my discs, it's all corroded and I should replace them, which I will do soon. But if you got this same thing that I've got, as you can see right here and right here, it looks like a different color to the one in the middle, and that is because all brake pads are basically making contact with this bit here, but not with this or with this bit around here. Why does that happen? This happens when, like me, you neglect your brakes, you don't put any lubricant on your caliper carriers, or maybe you do, but it's been so long now that it doesn't even matter. So what we're gonna have to do is remove the caliper, we're gonna clean the carrier, we're gonna put some lube in there, we're gonna check our pads, we're going to probably get some sandpaper, sand them down a bit, and we're going to check as well our sliders. So let's get to it. In most cases, your caliper is going to be fixed to your caliper carrier by either 2 bolts or 2 Allen keys or 2 Torx. It's just basically the way that they normally fix them to the caliper carrier. Now, my one has a 12 bolt at the back, and it has a nut right here in between the caliper and the caliper carrier, which is basically part of the sliders. The sliders go inside this bit here in the caliper carrier. So we're gonna have to put a spanner there, and then we just have to remove them. Now that we got both of them out, we're gonna be able to remove our caliper. If your car uses the caliper as a service brake and a parking brake, you're gonna have to take the handbrake off or the e-brake off before you take the caliper off. Alright, now that we got the caliper off, let's put it somewhere where it's not gonna fall and it's not gonna break that pipe as well. We don't want this pipe right here. I don't know if you can see it. We don't want that pipe right there to be kink to your caliper, so we're gonna have to be careful with that as well. We can see if our sliders, as you can see on this one, is lubricated, but we're going to clean it and we're going to put some silicone grease in here. But normally the way that you try is if you push them, they shouldn't get stuck in there and they should sort of bounce back, let's say. As you can see, this one is doing it, so we're happy with that. Now, to take our brake pads, my ones are going to be quite seized in there, as you can see. So I recommend you to get maybe a screwdriver and try to pry them out, being very careful because we don't want to damage them. We're gonna have to be, we want to be careful with when we take the brake pads off so we don't damage them, as we want to reuse them. So we don't want to damage the disc either, so be very careful, do it gentle, and they will come off. My discs are very much done. and I did mention that before anyway, that I'm going to replace them. I was just making this video to show you what could happen if you neglect your brakes. And look at this. This is the back plate where your friction pad for the brake pad is located. All right, and this is what happens when you don't lubricate, as I was saying, these bits here, these guides in the caliper carrier enough. So yes, you can put your new set of discs and pads, lubricate that, all perfect, but if you don't do that often, and I'm not saying every month, but if you don't do that often, if you don't check them, just in case something is wrong, you're gonna end like me. So now we got that, and this, if you can see it right here, that is part of my brake pad. As I mentioned in many videos before, I made the mistakes, so you don't have to. So what we're gonna have to do is get new discs and pads. But this video was for you to know that if you don't look after your brakes, this could happen to you, and you're gonna be wasting money, like I'm gonna be wasting money now on new brakes and pads. This is my inside brake pad, and as you can see as well, it's been wearing. As you can see, it's been wearing uneven as well. You can see it has a lot more meat in there than in the middle and right here. So as I was saying, if you don't do your maintenance, this could happen to you. I'm gonna remove the other side. Let's see how that one is. And if that one is okay, I'll show you what you should do to prevent all this from happening to you. This side, our brake pads come out quite easily. And this is what I was saying before about the disc being wearing just in the middle and not actually on the whole surface of the disc. But luckily on this side things are a bit easier, as you can see, to remove. So that's off right now. We're going to remove the other one, and I'm going to show you what you're going to have to do. We can see that this side has a lot more meat. So this could mean a few things. This could mean that the other side was dragging, or it could mean that our caliper was getting seized. And by our caliper being seized, two things could happen. It could get seized outwards, so basically it's probably what happened in this side, so the two pads are constantly pressing on the disc, or it could be seized inwards, which means that when you press your brake, nothing happens. So what I'm going to show you now is what you should do to prevent this from happening to you. Alright, so what I've done here is remove the caliper carrier. The caliper carrier has normally two bolts, you know, as I said, two bolts, two nuts, two torques, two maybe Allen key bolts through here to the knuckle. So basically it sits like this. The caliper sits like this, and our pads go in here. I took the worst one, so this is the one on the right hand side, where the pads were basically fused to the disc. And as you can see, our slider is just basically this. It has a rubber to prevent all the crap to go in it. The slides on top of here, so we just push it down like this. Then here's where your bolt goes through, and basically the slider goes in here like that. As I said, that goes over there so it doesn't have any crap, and as you can see, it moves freely, just like this one. Same thing, goes in and out. With them, it's important, just with your pads, to remove them, clean all that crap, and lubricate them with new lube. So that's what we're going to do right now. Pull them out. As you can see, some of them, so some of the sliders have that rubber right there, and that in this case my one goes at the bottom, so let's remember that. Let's take them out, put this aside for a second, and what we're going to do is just remove this rubber, clean them just like that. Get the other one. I almost cleaned the rubber instead of actually cleaning the slider itself. So we're going to clean them like this. I'm going to use some silicone grease. Just get some on your fingers, and then just go around it. Don't be scared on actually lubricating this. The more lube the better. If you know, you know. Once this is done, we're going to put them aside for a second, somewhere clean. And what we're going to do is have a look at our caliper carrier. These two guides here are where our brake pads locate. So as you know or might know, they go like that. So what we're going to do is remove these guides. So you can see they're a bit tight in there. So we remove them one side or the other. And as you can see right there, they are a bit dirty. So we're going to clean them. We're going to get a wire brush. We're just going to basically brush it. We're going to try to clean all the crap from it. It's much cleaner. And I know some of you might say, just for comparison, and there we go. I know some of you might say, oh, why didn't you leave them in here and the caliper carrier just clean them there? Because sometimes in this one you can appreciate it properly. Right there we get a lot of crap as well. So if we only clean the guides, we're going to accumulate crap at the back of it, and this, what it's going to make is basically push the guides inwards. So this is going to be pushing inwards, and it's going to be pushing on a brake pad, which is not going to let our brake pad coming in and out when we press and depress the brake. Our caliper carrier is way cleaner. You can see it right there. We can see it right there. One thing that I would say, if you're going to do this, if you're going to use a wire brush like we're doing right there, go and do it outside if you can, because all the brake dust is not really good for you to inhale. So as usual, don't do like me, do it properly. So what we're going to do now is put our guides in here, and we're going to lubricate them the same way that we did with the sliders. As we did before, just get some silicone or some copper grease, whatever you will want to use, and you're going to go right in the middle. We want right here mostly, so all the way in here, all the way in here. So we want all these walls to be nice and lubed. We can put a bit of lube here on the top as well, so it helps with the pad actually going in and out, but the most important bit is going to be right here. So we're going to do that on both sides. We're going to get in here, we're going to do the same. And once we have both of them lubed, we're going to start looking at our brake pads. First thing we're going to look on our brake pads is if they're wearing even. As you can see, they almost are, and we got basically the same meat on one than the other, so that's a good sign. There's not a lot of crap here in between, which is always a good sign as well. The second step is going to be get sandpaper and sand them down. It doesn't have to be a very aggressive sandpaper. What you want to do and just go over the whole brake pad. And as I said before, that's not good for you to inhale. So if you're going to blow that, do it outside if you're going to try to get rid of all of this, because otherwise it's not going to be a good time. If this here was blocked, what we'll do as well is get some paper and go in the middle, just like that. And for good practice, let's do it in both. Now that they're nice and clean, we're going to do the same thing with the sandpaper, just here, just to get rid of all the crap. You can do it as well with a wire brush if you want to. Just so all this surface here is ready for our lube. Once we've done all of that and we have cleaned them, what we're going to do is put lube on here, here, and here. Okay, you can go if you want to be on the inside and a bit on the top. Be careful, we don't want to put anything on the friction pads, because otherwise it won't work as it should. So we do that, as I said, on the top, here and here, As you can see, I got these non-squeal plates, if you want to call them. In theory, some people like them, some people don't. I got them on. In theory, it should stop, as the name says, the squealing from the brakes, so they shouldn't make any noise when you're braking. And then another place that we can put a bit of lube is on the contact here with our caliper. Once we have all of that clean and lube, we're ready to put it back in the car. Once you put your caliper carrier on, you torque those bolts. You can find the torque settings online, or if you go the manual, you can find them on the manual. Then you're going to put your brake pads, and then you're going to put your caliper carrier and torque those bolts as well. Normally they're not going to be too high, but it's good practice to actually torque everything so you know they're nice and secure. Once you got all of that done, you can put your wheel back on and you can enjoy your car again. But remember, I'm not going to tell you exactly how many months you have to do it or how often you have to do it, but just keep on checking every now and then, see if the lube is still there. Mostly you can see it through the rim anyway. You can see if the pad has a bit of lube or not. Keep on checking, mostly if you live in places where it rains a lot or it's cold or it snows. You want to keep those lubricated so you don't have to do, like me, buy new discs and new pads. So don't neglect your car and do things right. I'm not going to lie to you, I have the front discs and pads for probably 4 months because they're warped. So basically when you brake a certain speed, it will wobble the steering wheel, so it all shakes and it's definitely not safe. So I'm going to make soon enough a video of replacing the 4 discs, the pads. We're going to readjust the handbrake and go a bit more into depth on that subject. So if that's something that you're interested on, stay tuned. And I think here's where I'm going to end the video. As I said, I did this just to more or less show you how what happens when you don't look after your car. And I have 3, and this one, to be honest, is the one that I neglect the most because it just works. She just fucking keeps on going, doesn't give me a hiccup, it doesn't give me an issue, just keeps on rolling. So sometimes I forget that she needs a bit of love as well. So thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing if you do, and I shall see you very shortly.